Question number 2. How can Lakeside maintain its individual identity as Fort Worth begins to annex its extraterritorial jurisdiction that surrounds Lakeside in the next 3 to 7 years?
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes, sir. To me, I thought this was a relatively simple question. The way I looked at it is, what is the stomach of the city council? I mean, what is the will of the people in the city council? One of the reasons we moved here was that it is independent. It is not part of a big city. If I wanted to live in a big city, I would. There's some minefields out there, I think. The question suggests that, there's a move afoot by Fort Worth that could end up with us being annexed. For example, we have some issues with our waste treatment plant, the 80 homes that live there. And I believe the city is starting to look at if it makes sense to continue to operate it or to let Fort Worth take our sewage and treat it for us like Saginaw does, which I happen to be familiar with. Now, on one way of looking at this, you would analyze what the life cycle costs are, what we're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, what are the risks, what are the technical aspects, and that's all well and good. But there may be a political aspect to that too, which could put us on a slippery slope. I don't know the answer to that, but I would be sensitive to the fact that there could be a concern that there may be something that overrules just a financial consideration. I want to preserve and protect what we have. I don't want to be part of a big city. And if that's a deal killer for the voters, for me, then I shouldn't be elected.
Mr. Dennis?
Mr. Mayor. In the next several years, Lakeside is going to need to stand together as a strong, tight-knit community so that we can maintain our identity as Fort Worth expands to surround our city limits. If we can maintain our high standard of living with our good city roads, successful utilities, and large citizen involvement and feedback, we can strive to keep our small, quaint community feel and high home values, which is of the most importance to me.
Okay. Council Place 2, Mr. Martin.
I'd first like to say that I originally discovered Lakeside in 1966, probably a lot sooner than most. Had a friend I was working with that his family lived out here, and I visited him several times in Lakeside. And I noticed at that time that it was a small residential community, and it was a lot smaller then than it is now. But in 1990, when my wife and I were looking for a place to build our, what we call retirement home, because that's what it is, we're retired, we came to Lakeside again. And it was still a small, quiet, residential community. And so I don't remember a whole lot about what it was like in 1966, but I've been here 22 years and it's still a small, quiet, residential community. I want to see it stay that way. I don't believe that Fort Worth annexing its extra territorial jurisdiction will change that, because the way I see it, our main drag is 1886. It comes right through Lakeside, and all the areas around that are already built up. Now, Fort Worth might annex right up to our border, but they can't touch us unless we allow it.
Mr. Hamilton?
The only way that Fort Worth can annex Lakeside is if you people want it to be annexed. If you maintain financial security here in this community, Lakeside will be here for your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids. And it won't be much larger than the 1,040 people that live here right now. But if I'm elected to your city council, I can assure you, we're not going to spend $1,202 next year for every man, woman, and child on government. We don't need that in a 1,040 person community. So stay financially stable and you'll stay Lakeside. That's my opinion.
Councilmember Place 3, Ms. Ware.
I think the most important thing to do is to understand our identity, and I think everybody here agrees that we are a residential bedroom community. I agree that we need to stay strong financially, and I would like y'all to know that we are financially strong and healthy, and we're paying our bills, and we're making progress along the way. But I think the important thing is to stay strong and independent. Know that we are Lakeside, and Fort Worth's not going to come annex us. That's not even an issue. That's it.
Mr. Thomas?
Former Tarrant County Tax Assessor Collector June Garrison told me one time that Fort Worth was focusing on unincorporated areas of Tarrant County to possibly annex, not Lakeside. We cannot control what Fort Worth does, rather we must strengthen our position. Steps must be immediately taken to protect our property values and our water assets. This is paramount. Another issue that must be addressed is the increasing size of our town government. Folks, we're down to a town of 1,040 people. And with the continued degradation of our property values, we're heading for some financial problems.